And we are live. Welcome to the first installment of Rugby with Reynecke. Not your run-of-the-mill magazine show. I didn't think of two guys more appropriate than my two guests today. Ernst Joubert, former captain of the Lions, former captain of Saracens, basically captained every single team he played in. Welcome, Ernst.
Hi, Tas. Good to be here.
Okay, and next to him, Dr. Brendan Venter. Springbok, played the 95, 99 World Cup, player coach at London Irish, coach at Saracens, started a revolution here, and hopefully the messiah of Springbok rugby. We'll get in a bit more into depth about that later. Welcome, Brendan.
Thank you, Tas.
Now, if you look at the current setup, the English setup, the guys coaching there, Steve Bothwick's going to be the Lions coach. Faz, who went over to Ireland, is going to be involved with the Lions. Paul Garstard, defence coach. It's all guys that are basically mentored by you. And the one thing that you pass on us is building a culture, and that, say what you want, they got that from you. The blueprint is a Brendan Venter blueprint. Now, my question that I want to ask now, and I don't know, I'm not sure if you can talk about what your future with Springbok rugby is. Are they going to put you, if you get involved, are they going to put you in a position to breed that culture in South African rugby? So first of all, because they might only make you defence coach. I don't know what to say. Perhaps you can't speak about it. Secondly, we've got the thing about the guys playing overseas. On any given day, and if you played, I think when I was at Connacht, on Mondays, every second or third Monday, the Irish players, they weren't there. They were always with a national team. We don't have that luxury, unfortunately, especially with guys playing overseas. But can you give us a bit of insight if you're going to get involved, or is this something that you can do for South African rugby in breeding that culture?
It's a good question, because Alistair did speak to me and he said, would I be interested in being involved? And I thought about it for quite a while. The risk of being involved in South African rugby is quite high from a point of view. It's a poison chalice, But the more I thought of it, and I actually took a bit of time, is we teach our children to not fear failure, and I've never feared failure from that point of view ever. So when London Irish phoned a long time ago, I went over and I said to my wife, let's go for an adventure. When Derby Tron asked me, let's do an adventure. When Saracens phoned, I like the concept of a challenge, and I love an adventure and trying something. And maybe because maybe I've got enough identity in outside of rugby. So let's say if I failed anywhere, it doesn't matter, because rugby is just a part of me. Rugby is not me. Okay, so firstly, I decided I will actually get involved if things work out correctly. Now, the second thing is I also said to Alistair that this is a difficult job. You must understand. It's not an easy job. And our ability to get everything in place off the field is critical. So your point's very relevant. My question was, when are we going to coach? If we're going to change something, when are we going to coach? We can't meet up a week before a game, So Alistair said he's already mentioned that to SA Rugby, and no problem. We'll have 3 camps within the Super Rugby. So the coaches agreed that, where they'll come in on a Sunday and a Monday and a Tuesday and leave late Tuesday evening. So at least that can happen. They'll have at least 2 weeks before the first test match. So that's first box tick. The second box for me, the question was, will we work with the people around us on those things that are we going to play in the test matches? Because if there's 7 or 8 people overseas, we have a camp, and there's absolutely no value, No. And in all fairness, I'm not saying people that are overseas aren't good enough. I'm just saying practically, you coach a rugby side. You teach people principles. You teach them work ethic. Work ethic does not come naturally. You teach people discipline. It doesn't come naturally. It's not a natural thing.
On that point, the respect that I wanted to mandate from you was so because of you pushed me, that I remember coming off the bench against Leeds and making 18 tackles just because you gave me a red armband and say, that is what you do. I'm going to quickly just play a clip, a YouTube clip, where somebody went out of his way in England to try and explain what happened here, because not everybody knows that, and this is a genius of Brendan Venter, that it's actually a parody of a movie called Mike Bassett, the English England manager. We watched it on a way to Gloucester, isn't that right, Harry?
Yeah, it was one of those bus trips that was probably 3 hours long, and some of the guys ripped it out, and it's obviously a mockumentary, and we all obviously loved it. And I think Edward challenged you to actually do it in some after post-match interview.
I'm
And
gonna
obviously
have
you'll
a-
see the product now.
Yeah, have a quick look at it, and then we'll have a chat with Brendan afterwards.
Brendan, how disappointed are you?
Yeah, disappointed. Very disappointed. Very disappointed.
What went wrong? Because you got off to such a wonderful start.
The team look in pretty good shape.
Good shape, yeah, good shape. Good team, looking very good. Couldn't be better.
Did it hinge in the end on a bit of genius from Sireli Bombo?
Bit of genius, bit of magic. Sireli Bombo, very interesting, very good, yeah. Very good. 3 cheers for Sireli Bombo. Very good, very good.
Having said that, we're not actually playing very well at the moment.
No, terrible shape, terrible team. Looking very bad.
What were you happy with about your side?
Oh, happy, everything, very good. Very happy with my team.
But you didn't win, did you, Brendan?
Yeah, we didn't win, it's true, yeah.
Then again, the omens do look good for England.
Well, looking good, very good.
Why didn't you win?
Oh, good question, that. Very good question. Win. It's important to win. It is important to win. We must try harder. Absolutely, yeah.
That's phenomenal. Brendan, give us maybe a bit of a background story.
No, as you said, Etas, it was a bit of passive resistance. Like Gandhi, it's not my strength to be passive resistant. But I got fined, I think, €20,000 a couple of weeks before for speaking out about, I think, the referee, you know, more the system with which they decided to select the European referees. And on this bus trip, I saw this interview and I said, well, that's just genius. That's exactly what I'm going to say. You're just going to talk, follow the lead of the interviewer and just say nothing. And Edward said, you never do it. I thought it was one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. I loved the movie. You know, typical English humour. And then when it happened, it was like it's spur in the moment because I think Edward was standing behind the guy and he just looked and he started grabbing his head. And I just thought I was on a roll. And there was this character in the movie called Ramirez. And the English team stood up and cheered Ramirez. So what was quite funny because my mother actually genuinely thought I'd taken something, like I went on some form of drugs. But all the youngsters in England who know the movie, it's a bit of a cult movie. When we put in the 3 cheers for Sireli Bombo, they all knew it was from there. So it was more for the younger generation. And the older people like Brian Moore and those people, it just went over their heads. They had no idea what it was about, you know.
And the South Africans were absolutely lost.
Yeah, they were completely lost, you know.
I mean, they're still lost. You still get... That's one of the first things everybody always asks. So that's why I wanted to get it.
The original clip was probably more than 1 million views now, the original one where you did it. So everyone was very stressed about you back home.
I think the other point is it is still just a game. And if we, even in those moments, if we can't laugh and actually joke about it, there's something wrong with us. And, you know, we all started to take it too serious. And Harry often said, you know, when we're in a situation is maybe it's easier for us to coach if we've got other things we do, but that's relevant for all of us in life, you know, and whatever we're busy with.
Yeah, I mean, you were always a big proponent getting something outside of rugby. I mean, I ended up studying again in England because of that.